All right, guys, this is Emmett Stallworth, the Alpha Builder. I'm here again with you guys. And the title of this right here is going to be OSB Engineered Lumber. And OSB stands for Oriented Strand Board. Now, guys, whenever possible, I would use this right here product. And there are different brands of OSB, oriented strand board. But whenever possible, any kind of engineered lumber, if I could afford it, versus dimensional. Now, guys, dimensional lumber is when they just cut it from the tree and they cut the tree down and they cut pieces out of it and they just give it to you. You know, they cut the, and now you got to understand with dimensional lumber, is that when moisture moves in and out of that dimensional lumber, it tends to move more, bend, bow, stuff like that. It moves a little bit more, twist. It does a little bit more, all right? Engineered lumber and oriented strand board is just one of them. You got LVL, laminated veneer lumber. You have glue lambs. You have all of these, like engineered flooring is another one. Guys, our subfloor can also be engineered. And, you know, when you get into those engineered, into the engineered lumber, in most cases, they took the byproduct of the scraps that was left over from cutting lumber. They don't really do it like that anymore, guys. They used to do it like that. But they used to get all the wood mulch that was left over when they cut the regular lumber, and they took it and they compressed it and they put a lot of glue in it and they squished it down, and it actually ended up being stronger. You know, at one time, the builders would use plywood. It was plywood. They get rolled sheets of lumber and sheets, and they take those sheets and they would put them where the grain would go perpendicular with one another. And they would create that, but it still moved, you know, when the humidity and the moisture moved in and out of it, that lumber tend to move and stuff, and it tend to bow a little bit, which is why you got a lot of, squeaks in the older houses, like, you know, because the lumber is going up and going down, things like that, and the nails scrubbing up against it when you step on it, it creates that squeak sound. But when you have engineered lumber, like OSB, and it's just a bunch of glue and wood chips and squished together, which makes it where it doesn't move. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't move as much as dimensional lumber does. And at one time, OSB, it used to be, you know, the builders would buy that and we got it for cheaper. We got it for cheaper. I think back in 2005 and stuff like that, the builders were getting OSB for cheaper because it was just the scraps left over from the other stuff. When we started figuring out the properties and the quality and that we had less callbacks on squeaks and stuff like that, well, then they just started making OSB, period. They got away from most of the plywood and they mainly started making OSB for the subfloor, OSB for the sheathing material. But guys, whenever possible, I would try to use engineered lumber. Another engineered lumber, I just thought about it, is finger jointed studs. You know, as long as you're going vertical, because you get the best pieces. You got about 2 feet increments of the best parts of the lumber, and you put it all together. But as long as you're going vertical, you're good with that. Keeps the wall straighter. The wall, especially when the sheetrock guys come in, you got pipes and stuff going through the walls and causing the walls to bow and things like that. Those walls are a whole lot straighter. It looks better. It costs a little bit more. You're gonna spend a little bit more money on anything that's engineered, but do you really spend more money on it? Because if you got engineered products, which holds up better And in some cases, you can span longer. Even when you're going from load bearing wall to load bearing wall, you got a greater span, especially with your eye joist. But squeaks on the floor and things like that, we look at it on the front end as I'm saving money to build this house. But you're probably going to get less callbacks because the people are not going to be calling you every time they hear a squeak in the floor and have you come over to fix that squeak. So these are the things that you got to think about, guys, on the front end. So pick your battles. Like for me, I think subfloor is probably a good one, to make sure that's engineered. And you guys are going to see this little video. Let's take a look at this right here video. Another product, guys, I try to I don't like to see a lot of cans and bottles and plastics and stuff everywhere. So I kind of try to clean that up as much as possible. But guys, another product as a builder, especially building new construction, guys, take advantage of this right here, man. OSB. Guys, this right here, we're talking about, so you got OSB as sheathing material, and you have OSB as subfloor. Now the OSB as a sheathing material, guys, this is a bunch of glue. This is a bunch of glue, and it's glue and wood chips, and it's compressed really, really tight to give 7/16 of an inch. But guys, it doesn't move as much. The humidity, because of the glue and the engineering of it, due to humidity and moisture and stuff like that, it doesn't expand and contract as much as just like plywood. It doesn't move, it doesn't bow or anything like that. Which is good. Now this right here is the subfloor, and the subfloor product is called Avantech. It's a little thicker than the sheathing material, but this stuff right here, man, is not really, we got it on the floor here, and it's not, this house, because we're framing it, is going to be exposed, to weather, water, rain, stuff like that. Of course, it's not raining lately, but it does really, really good. If I take some water here, let me just find a place over here. If I take some water, a little smooth place here. If you take water, just kind of pour it on this thing right here, guys. You see how the water bead up? See how it beads up? This is what you want, man. See how it beads up right there? This stuff is not being soaked and absorbed as quickly. Now, it probably sit here, it'll probably evaporate quicker, but this is a good product, man. Now, I still come in here and drill a couple of holes in the floor so that, when it rains, it just don't sit there and stand. But this is a good product, guys. It kind of saves you, man, in the event that, you don't have a lot of floor squeaks. Now, you can't guarantee you won't have a floor leak. Floor leaks is usually caused by the bowing and it's scrubbing up against the nails and making that noise. But this right here is a really good product. We try to use subfloor glue, and we try to use a Vantec. I don't screw them in. It would just be way too much labor. But I do nail them in, but I use subfloor. But this is a good product, guys. So keep that in mind when you guys out here doing your product. All right. So you can kind of see where, the subfloor, that water not being able to penetrate and stuff like that, especially if you leave it in the, if you leave it, if water gets in the house while it's under construction, like we have right there, it's not creating a problem. And we also put glue down the whole, glue on the floor and joist, but just a much better product, guys. I'll tell you, man. So whenever possible, builders, OSB are engineered. I even go as far as I'd rather use engineered, the sanded finish hardwood floors. Go engineer, guys. LVP is probably laminated veneer panels, tile, or whatever you want to call it, man. Go with that stuff. That stuff deals with water a whole lot better. You're not gonna have to. And then if there's a problem, you got a hose or something that burst, that your plumbers didn't tighten up something, or one of those, something come loose and water gets all over the floor, well, you're not going to have that problem. You're not going to have the problem of resanding that whole area, having the homeowners to move into a hotel for a week until you get all that stuff sanded up and done. That's a builder's nightmare. All right, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Once again, man, if you guys want to learn how to build, or you guys are into trying to build as a side hustle, even maybe building your own house, I don't know. If you're in Alabama, you can build your own house. But guys, if you have any intentions on getting into the trades or getting into the building, you guys should go to my members channel and join. It'll help you build. You guys like, share, subscribe. Thanks again.